It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced white knuckle racing just across the river, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs. Get over to Joe's today and do yourself a little indoor karting. And with the storm that happened this week and the weather that's bound to happen, we can't push it enough. It's a great time to be indoor karting facility. Get over to Joe's Karting. On Thursday night, they do this. Is it Thursday night or Tuesday night? They do the leagues.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday nights.
League night. Something
I've been wanting to get over to. It's basically like a point structure, so you can be like a race car driver, race it on a weekly basis, earning points for your finishing position, and then I think it's a 12 to 14 week league that you can get in on. And it looks like it's a Tuesday night thunder, I believe is what they're calling it. But a lot of fun. Get over to Joe's Karting today, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs, and check out their Facebook page for more details on that. Big show lined up for you today. We're going to announce our Daytona 500 party. If you've ever been a part of it in the past, no surprises what we're going to announce. Prizes, great special, and great racing coming up on February 18th. We'll announce more details on that coming up here in turn number 1, and we'll give you an opportunity to win a Justin Allgaier autographed hero card. I believe this was from his 51 Brandt Chevrolet when he raced in the Cup Series. Was that for Phoenix Racing was in the 51, or maybe they shifted ownerships?
Everything had shifted ownership by then.
Yeah, you're right. But currently he drives another car, and we're going to ask a trivia question based on his Xfinity Series ride. So bone up on that while you have some time. That's going to be coming up here in turn number 1. Turn number 2, we're going to work with getting Justin Zeitner on the phone, driver of the 62Z Modified throughout the Midwest, and he's got some big news regarding his ride for 2018. So we'll talk to Justin about that. And turns 3 and 4, we were working on Kevin Gundaker. We're just not able to get the schedules lined up, so I apologize to any Kevin Gundaker fans who tuned in this morning. Keep listening throughout the next couple of weeks. We're going to do our best to get Kevin on the phone, but with
it's
all
not for lack of trying.
That's true. I mean, you've 2 restraining orders he's put on you, but no phone call returns.
That's probably close.
So instead, we're going to change it up just a little bit, and we're going to talk to a local legend who we've already had as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series, but it's always nice to go back and revisit these guys, especially a few years later, and see what's new and what's happening. So Kyle Berck, the Marquette Missile, is going to join us in turns 3 and 4 for this week's Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt series. Well, without further ado, we're going to do like we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. We want to make sure and give plenty of love to Justin Zeitner in turn 2 and Kyle Berck in turns 3 and 4, so we're going to have a pretty quick turn 1. The only thing we're going to do here is announce the Daytona 500 party. What you need to know, 1 o'clock start time, and then coverage starts at 1:30 on Fox. We're going to be down at Quaker Steak at about 1 o'clock. Actually, we'll probably be there about noon or 12:30 and get everything set up. Great food specials. We'll be announcing those shortly as Quaker Steak gets everything organized and ready to go. And then we're going to be giving away all these hero cards and autographed items that we don't that we have left over in our prize vault. Plus, it'll be your last chance to get signed up before the green flag waves. I believe it's at about 2:15 Central Time on Sunday, February 18th, to get signed up for the Pick'ems contest, which is free, thanks to our friend Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners. And also going on that day, we're going to present the trophy to the winners. I got to get a hold of them to make sure they're going to be able to come up. Dale Smith won it for the second time. He's the first repeat winner, and we're going to see if him and Sonia can come up out of they're down in the Harlan area, I believe. Make their way up to come hang out with us and receive their trophy. We got a really cool trophy that we're going to present to them, and you could win that trophy. It's free to participate in the Pick'ems contest. It's free to come down to Quaker Steak and Lube. You do have to pay a little bit for the food and beer, though.
And I'm sure for those that like to partake, we'll probably have a couple pools going on like we normally do. Get 3 or 4 of those going on.
Absolutely.
And, maybe win yourself a little money if you got any luck.
So that's coming up February 18th for the Daytona 500 party. You want to get more information on that, head over to the Front Stretch Facebook page. We've got all the information posted there. And as we get closer to the Daytona 500 party on February 18th, we'll be posting pictures of some of the autographed items. We give away so many things. And I mean, we're not talking about people you never heard of. There's dirt track drivers, there's NASCAR drivers, there's IndyCar drivers. We have autographed Graham Rahal items. We also have motocross, Gavin Faith, who's a motocross driver that joined us on the show a couple of years ago. He signed some stuff for us. Sammy Swindell, Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer. We have so many autographed items, and from names that if you watch on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you know who these guys are. All right, let's do that giveaway for the Justin Allgaier autographed hero card. Real simple question, 402-573-0590. Those are the digits to call, and the first person to call in with this correct answer will win themselves an autographed Justin Allgaier hero card. And that question is plain and simple. What car number did Justin drive in 2017 in the Xfinity Series for Junior Motorsports?
Cue the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
402-573-0590. What car number did Justin Allgaier drive for Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series? Again, 402-573-0590. First one to call up and let Craig know what that car number was is going to win themselves an autographed hero card. Now, pending my availability to get into work on Monday, I'll be giving you a call and letting you know and arranging details on how to get you the prize. Maybe I got to mail it to you because you're out of the Omaha, Council Bluffs area. That's not a problem. We do that all the time. But if you happen to be in the area, you can swing by the radio station and pick it up. Now, I say pending availability because depending on how much snow we get, I may not be at work on Monday. But needless to say, next week sometime, this coming week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll get around to giving you a call and getting that set up for you.
You got one of them four-wheel drives. You'll be here.
Yeah, but if I got an excuse to not be at work, I mean, I can't, boss. There's a dusting of snow on the ground. It's just not safe.
Yeah, but they're going to pay you to just drive people around. Play shuttle driver.
That's true. I should do that.
That'll scare a bunch of people. That'll people taking a hospital for a heart attack.
402-573-0590. That's the number to call to answer the question, what car number did Justin Allgaier drive for Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series in 2017? We'll be back with Justin Zeitner, driver of the Z62, coming up next here on the Front Stretch.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
This week's young gun on the Front Stretch is 20-year-old Colton Leal. After 6 seasons of racing, Colton has driven Sport Mods, A-Mods, Grand Nationals, and Super Late models. He's always had a passion for dirt racing, especially after watching his father Michael Leal race and his role models Kyle Berck, John Hempel, and Casey Kane. In 2012, Colton won Most Improved Driver of the Year at Adams County Speedway in his Super Late model, and last season he finished 5th in the points behind the wheel of a Sport Mod at ACS. Outside of racing, Colton loves to fish, work out, and play around on the stock market. He's currently attending Iowa State University working on his mechanical engineering degree. The next time you're at Shelby County Speedway, Adams County Speedway, or I-80 Speedway, keep your eye out for the CAR Racing and Jetstream bodies, Eye Candy Design Baldwin Racing engines number 13 Junior in the Super Late models, and the number 18 in the Sport Mods driven by young gun Colton Leal. This week's profile on the Front Stretch has been presented by Craig Kelly at Insera Kelly and Sewell Personal Injury Attorneys.
For almost 70 years, Insera Kelly Sewell have been Nebraska's premier personal injury firm. Race drivers, fans, and their families have been calling Sunset Speedway's Craig Kelly for over 30 years. The IKS firm focuses first on your healing and appropriate medical care, then they focus on getting you great results. Craig Kelly and his experienced team at IKS stand ready to handle your injury claims in both Nebraska and Iowa. If you or a loved one have been injured, Google Craig Kelly or call him at 402-391-4000.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the Front Stretch.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch, heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the Front Stretch. Don't forget to get over the lube on February 4th for the Super Bowl. Coming up with some great specials. You can find a picture of the specials. Lube Tube Compact Bucket of Wings, $28.95. Domestic bucket of beer, that's 5 beers for $14, or you can pick a $10 combo meal. Just select from 3 of them over at Quaker Steak and Lube. Find them on Facebook and grab that special. That's coming up 4 o'clock on Sunday, February 4th for the big game. We're talking racing as we do all year long, and we're talking with one of the legendary names throughout the area and continuing on that legend. Am I right, Justin? Third-generation racer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
third generation.
Okay, so driving the Z62, you bounce around between A mod and late model, but it seems like this year you kind of stabilized a little bit in the A mods.
Yeah, definitely. This year we ran, I'd say probably 90% of our shows were A mod shows this past year, and I think we only ran 5 late model shows.
Sounds like you're going to switch that up though for 2018.
Yep, we're switching up. We're going to go full time on the Malvern Bank Series, and when we're not running the Malvern Bank Series, we're going to be running MLRA. So we got a full slate, probably more than I can chew, but we're going to find out.
You're going to find out real quick. Approximately how many nights are you looking at there? I know Malvern Bank's about 20. How many is the MLRA?
I don't know. I counted at one time, and I think we were up to 39 shows because we do have some Lucas Oil shows on there too. So it's a full schedule, that's for sure. And then we're gonna try to sneak some modified racing in there too. But it's gonna have to be a pretty big show for us to step away from the late model deal at all.
So switching over brand new equipment and stuff, what are you going to be driving?
We're going to be in the GRT house car, so GRT chassis, and then we're going to have Andy Durham motors.
Well, that's a big get for you guys. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I can't. Never thought that I'd have the opportunity that I have with the equipment I'm going to be in. But it's sink or swim now. You know, you got the best of the best stuff, and now you just got to go out there and perform.
Are you going to house the car, or are they going to bring it to you every week?
Nope, I'll be housing the car at my shop, and then we'll race out of my shop.
Let's talk a little bit about your 2017 season. You kind of alluded to it wasn't a very eventful year, but that's tough to do in dirt racing. Everything's eventful.
Yeah, I mean we didn't race like we had before. I think we still clicked off 10 or 12 wins, something like that in the modified, and then we only raced the late model. It was either 5 or 6 times, and we won 4 features at Shelby County at their weekly deal there, and then we only ran a couple SLMR shows. I kind of focused on the mod last year, and we just didn't get out much at the late model.
And any particular reason why you focus on the mod? Did you feel it that year?
No, I had a lot of work obligations last year. I had to work a lot, and you can race a lot more closer to home than you can with the late model. It seems like with the late model you got to travel more unless you do the weekly stuff. But it was just a lot easier to get the mod ready, and there are a lot less maintenance, a lot less work. So you can leave work on a Friday and go race a mod. Friday and Saturday, Sunday if you want to. It's just a lot less work with the work schedule and everything.
A little bit cheaper on the wallet too, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
People complain about the A-mod prices, but just wait till you get into a late model.
Yeah. Anybody ever needs me to explain it to them, I can.
Any other highlights throughout 2017 you want to kind of focus on a little bit?
Probably the most special moment for me, it really wasn't anything to stand out or made the news or anything like that, but I got to win a race over at Shelby County, and I had both my grandpas there. My grandpa from Tennessee was in town, and then my grandpa Zeitner. They were both there for that, and we put it on them that night. We were pretty good, and it's just pretty special. You never know how many more times that's going to happen, or if it ever will happen again. They're both getting up there in age, and it's just that's pretty special to me. I got a picture of Victory Lane with both of them, and you just some people never get to do that. It's just pretty neat.
Yeah, it's tough to even win a race. Better yet when both your grandparents are there.
Yeah, for sure.
So this GRT deal, can you give us a little insight on how it came together? Had you been talking with them for a while? Did they approach you?
It was a spur-of-the-moment deal. They had another driver lined up, and he had some. I don't know exactly what happened, but he's stepping out of racing. I think he's focused on family and the family business. And I kind of heard about that, and I kind of mentioned it to my dad one day, that I think Joe might be looking for a house car driver, and if he is, that'd be great, And I told my dad, I was like, we should just give him a call and see, if it's something we can help him out and he can help us out, and it works out, it'd be a good deal to get a team together and do something. Well, it pretty much snowballed from there. My dad made a phone call to Joe, and there was other drivers with their names in the hat and everything, and it just my dad and Joe have been friends for a long time, and they trust each other, and they've put enough trust in me that to drive it, and they put a good enough team together that I feel like we can go out there and win a few races for sure.
So yeah, that kind of leads me into my next question with you. new series with the MLRA series. You've toured with the Malvern Bank a little bit before. So what are your expectations walking into these 50, 60 races for 2018?
My expectations are pretty high because my dad and Joe have put me in, I feel like the best of the best equipment. I have the experience in a late model. I haven't been in them as much lately as I would have liked to say I have, but we definitely aren't going to be lacking any equipment. I feel like between Joe and Zach at GRT and the guys at Penske, I feel like we're going to be lined up pretty good. And I don't feel like there's no reason we can't go out and win this championship in SLMR for sure. I probably shouldn't say for sure, but I definitely feel like we'll be in contention. I know there's a lot of heavy hitters on that deal with Berck and Pospisil, Schaller. You got both the Kosiski boys, and my cousin, he proved last year that he's no slouch either. So there's some heavy competition on there, but I definitely feel like we got the equipment, and we're going to run with them.
Are you contender for Rookie of the Year with the SLMR, or have you exceeded those races?
No, we ran a full season of SLMR back in it was either 13 or 14. Mm-hmm. We ran the full season, and I think we barely missed the points title that year to Travis Dickey's. But
you would be a Rookie of the Year contender for MLRA, right?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure to win that deal, you would definitely have to run every single race, and there are some weekends that conflict with SLMR, and that's the series that we have committed to is I guess it's not even SLMR anymore. It's the Malvern Bank series. So
I still fall into that trap.
I always forget that, but it is the Malvern Bank series.
Dollar in the swear box, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, that is what we have committed to do. So
okay, so that's going to be your full-time series, and then you're going to hit the MLRA as much as you can.
Yep, MLRA and Lucas. So.
Okay. Any other besides those three series? Anything else you're looking at, kind of eyeing some big specials you want to make sure and hit?
If it works out, we'd like to go to the World 100, but I don't know if there's anything going that weekend. Probably the most special event I'm going to have this year is going to be around the beginning of July. I'm going to have my first kid. So that's going to be a big enough event there for me that we ain't going to venture too far away from home at the beginning of July. So that's probably my biggest event. I know it's non-racing, but it's going to be a big one, I'm sure.
All right, adding to the crew members, working for your future. That's a good plan.
Yeah, no doubt.
Do you guys know if it's going to be a girl or a boy, or are you going to find out?
We do not know yet, so I can't not find out. She gives me a hard time all the time. I think she could go without finding out, but I can't. I don't know. I just I want to know.
To me, it'd be like
all I can say about that.
I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to find out, because there's a lot of planning you got to do ahead of time, and it helps to know the gender.
Well, exactly.
Oh yeah, there's all these people that say, "Oh, you never get that surprise again." It's like, well, I'm not really one for surprises. So,
my youngest brother's oldest one was a girl, and they didn't have the doctor tell them. They were just waiting for the surprise. And like my brother said, I was so sure it was a boy when the doctor pulled her out. He said, "Put him back. He ain't done yet."
Yeah.
Well, what's more nerve-wracking for you? Starting a race, maybe on the front row, or what's coming up in July?
Oh, definitely what's coming up in July.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like as a male you're ever prepared for that. I don't think. I mean, maybe there's somebody else out there that feels differently, but I don't know. I just I don't feel like I feel like I'm still a kid, so I don't know why anybody would let me raise one.
That's probably why I'm 35 and haven't had one yet. There's also a sparing the world from my spawn that is a good reason.
I'm 59 in a couple days and don't have one yet. So
yeah.
I read a book that said get a wife first. I ain't done that yet, so why have the
kid? Yeah.
All right, so obviously you're going to hit up the Silver Dollar Nationals. Big plans for that. MLRA, Lucas Oil, and the Malvern Bank, they're all there, so you're going to have a busy weekend.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That'll be a big weekend. It always is. That event out there is just it's become more than I ever thought it would be. I mean, it's a tough deal to do where we live to get them guys out here. But the Kosiski families put up the money, and the people come, and the drivers come, and it's I mean, a lot of people don't realize how lucky we are to have that event here in our backyard.
Absolutely. With starting the MLRA series, it's like you talked about. It's a national touring series, so the talent level is it's about 0.3 faster, 0.4 faster than you would get at your local level. Is there anybody that you've leaned on that is a part of the series or has been a part of the series for a little bit of advice?
Not too much really, because I've ran that stuff before on a very limited schedule, of course. But there's not really any one guy in particular, I guess, that I just call up and look for advice. I'll be traveling with J.C. Wyman when we do it. I mean, as far as like gear ratios go to pick and stuff like that, I'll lean on him for that and stuff like that. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I feel like you just go out there and drive by the seat of your pants, and I don't know. I've never really been one to lean on another driver because I'm a driver. And I don't think I'd really tell anybody anything that would be too much of an advantage, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, there's that delicate balance between giving them enough information to where they're not in the way and giving them too much information to where you're in the way.
Exactly.
And it probably also helps you don't need to lean on somebody because you're a third-generation driver and you got plenty of family members that have to help you.
Yeah, it's my dad. He's full of advice, and if he don't know it seems like my grandpa does. So somebody be able to lead me in the right direction if I have a question.
I think your dad's full of advice, even if he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. He's definitely. He'll tell you he knows what he's talking about, though, and most of the time he does. I've learned. I'd like to say I learned at a young age, but it took me a while. But I learned that usually he's right. Very rarely. You're usually just better off listening to your dad.
At least shaking your head.
In a racing, I would recommend that.
Yeah, at least shaking your head and letting him think you're listening until he walks away.
Yep, and you're walking away, mumbling, the old man's lost it.
Yeah.
Are you sticking with the Z62, or are you going to drop the Z? What's the plan?
No, we are going to be number one.
Number one
GRT is what the number will be.
So you're going to have a brand new car and a brand new merchandise this year then?
Yeah, I don't know about the merchandise yet. We're still working on that, so I can't commit to that. But we definitely would like to, but we don't know. We just haven't got that far putting together the whole deal. It's just one of them deals. You take it one day at a time. It's a lot to take on, but I feel like I'm up for it.
We're going to collect some autographed hero cards once those get in, so keep us abreast.
That's fine with me.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for joining us on the show. Best of luck in 2018. We look forward to seeing you in Victory Lane.
Congrats on that house car deal.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
He said that wasn't a big deal. That's a huge deal. I'm sorry, but that is really cool.
It really is. Deal. When that announcement was made, we're kind of like, that's a big car. I mean, there was a lot of drivers that were probably vying for that ride,
and that's
for
what
Justin
he said.
To get it.
There were a lot of names in the barrel, and he said they basically had somebody else lined up, and whatever happened fell through. And he's in the seat, and all he's got to go out and do is perform.
Just because I'm nosy, I'd be interested to find out who that driver is that was lined up.
Yeah, I read the article, and they didn't mention any other names in the article. You know, like, hey, Justin was their second choice type deal. Yeah. But it doesn't matter if he was their fifth choice. He's got the ride.
He's got the ride.
You know, he's got a year to prove himself, and if he does, he'll probably keep the ride.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back turns 3 and 4. The Marquette Missile, Kyle Berck, will join us for the Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt series. We're going to take a break. We'll be back here on the front stretch.
We all have that coworker that runs their mouth off at how great they are. They shot a 5 under par, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, bench press 375, brah. Wouldn't you love to shut them up by schooling them at Joe's Karting? Council Bluffs' premier indoor karting track, professionally designed so each corner is your opportunity to embarrass your coworker. Call Buddy for your next company outing at 712-256-5278. Joe's Karting, white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue next to AMC 17.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn number 3, and it's time to continue our Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt series. This weekend we are talking with a local legend that Absolutely no question about it. He's won about everything. He's toured regionally. He's even toured a little bit nationally, and he's won on mostly every level. And that is the driver of the 14 out of Marquette, Nebraska. That's the Marquette Missile. Kyle Berck, how you doing, bud?
Very good.
It's great to have you back on the show. We haven't got to talk to you near enough. I know you guys get a little bit busy during the race season, so I try not to bother you. So it's always kind of nice to sit down and talk in January and February before things get hectic. But I think things are starting to get hectic, aren't they?
Well, for whatever reasons, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but it seems like it's always hectic anymore. But for being an off season, it don't feel like it's very off. But it does get worse in the spring. There's no doubt about it. So this is, I guess, as quiet as it gets.
Well, that's because you're wearing too many hats these days.
That might be a big part of it, I would say.
How's the farming business going?
Well, let's just talk racing.
Okay. I don't know.
Farming is it's pretty bad when the tax man tells you that your racing is supporting your farming. then you know farming's not doing very good. So.
Right, yeah. It's they always talk about them dang rich farmers, but they don't realize that everything's got a note on it.
It does. Yep, there's big payments due, and the prices have been down, for a couple of years here, and it's definitely a very, very rough time on the farm right now. But I guess we knew that when we signed up, meaning it's part of the farming life, and whether it's livestock or grain, the markets are up and they're down, and right now we're in a very down spell, no doubt about it.
We'll take a few of those dollars and buy some more beer. Always helps.
Well, for me, all it takes is Mountain Dew, but
or I guess take another note.
yeah, or take out another note. Yep.
Call Jay over at Malvern Bank. Let him know you got to get your beer on tonight, and you need a note.
We're on speed dial, so.
Somebody once told me it's a terrible business move to make your livelihood rely on the weather, and I guess you're a glutton for punishment.
I am. Farming and racing, they both wrap around the weather for the most part, and they're both up and down financially, and they both take a lot of work and a lot of stress. And, I don't know why we got to do both.
Yeah, you took I don't know how much you want to talk about it. I can't imagine. I don't know if it's a sensitive subject, but the trailer fire earlier this year, or at the beginning of the 2017 race season, that had to be a pretty scary moment for you.
Well, it was. It's something you hear or read of people having issues of this nature, and you say, man, that'd be really bad, and all that. And then when it comes to reality for yourself, it's hard to describe what a guy goes through and actually how long it's taken to where I can talk about it and it doesn't stir up, big emotion in me, where I can comfortably and calmly, look back and reflect now. But that took a long time. Yeah,
I bet so. And a scary moment. First off, glad everyone's okay. You guys got away lucky, even though a lot of equipment was damaged and you've got a big headache in front of you. Everyone got away safe.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at circumstances like that, and many, many things could have gone wrong, and especially in the heat of the moment when you think you're going to save it and you're trying to get stuff out of there. And, at one point, Belinda and I was basically crawling on the floor of the trailer to get out the last time because we was unloading parts as fast as we could, and the smoke just got so thick, and you inhaled it, and it's just like somebody just threw a rag in your throat. It's like, okay, enough of that. So, yeah, there's a lot of things could have went wrong in a hurry there.
Yeah, you hear those stories of firefighters holding people down not to go back into the house to save, whatever it be. And then you're put in that situation and you needed somebody to hold you back because you think I can make one more trip and just get that one item that costs, 6-7 zeros or whatever. And
absolutely. When you're unloading carburetors and shocks and things that are, $500, $600, $800, $1,500 per item, you want to get all you can, but pretty soon it comes a point in time you're like, I can't believe it. I just can't do no more.
And the tough thing is there's no insurance on it. If that was my truck that drives up and down the road and my truck was caught on fire, I could step back and have to deal with the insurance company. Not much of that stuff can be insured in your case.
Well, and I think some of it we took for granted. You do this long enough and pretty soon you just become numb to what could happen until it actually happens. But and we have content insurance for what was in our shop, but not realizing the details of all that because we've never really thought we had to understand all the details. But as soon as that equipment, at least in the policy we had, become mobilized, then it was not insured. So that was an eye-opener, too. So, I guess hopefully a lot of us can learn from this and make adjustments accordingly. And, but after 35 years of racing and never having an issue like this, it bit us. But I guess it is life, and you learn to accept it after a while. But it's been a tough one, no doubt.
Let's talk about the aftershock afterwards. One of the greatest things I learned about this community from the day I stepped into it was how quickly they'll come together and help you out. And the fact that you had a trailer fire on the first day of the Malvern Bank Super Late Model Touring Series and you were still able to get to the track is tremendous.
Well, to go back, once this happened and we got everything out that we could and we unhooked the truck from the trailer and the fire department's there, doing the best they can. And I'm sitting, 100 feet off to the side on the county ditch, just trying to really pinch myself, see if this is reality. And I had totally lost the mood. I mean, we'd work day and night to finish up like all racers do here going into the season. And, I was wore out anyway. And then to see it all basically disappearing in front of your eyes, mentally I had given up. And, my sister, she's the fighter. And she's like, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I said, I'm going home. I mean, we're only like 9 miles from home. I can see almost where we live. And she's like, no, we're not. I said, yes, I am. We had this little almost fight over it. I said, I am not even going to try to make something happen for tonight. It's over. And anyway, she kept being determined like she is. And so we started calling around. And one call led to another call. And then pretty soon as some of the racers at the Malvern Bank Series had heard about it, they're calling, they're offering. When the dust settled, I had 3 or 4 cars I could have drove. And that just blew me away. In all honesty, I wouldn't have expected that in a million years. The first race of the year, everybody's put their time and investment into it, and then to sit here and say, "Hey, come drive my car. Yeah. Hey, I got a backup car." I did not see that coming.
You hear a lot of people say about the community coming together, but these are when the story meets the tale, when it's actually true.
As much as we all are competitive and we're all there to win, I get all that, some more than others, but I'm on a very, competitive end of the scale. Mm-hmm. Even our fiercest competitor offered us help. So, when the dust settles, it's like a family.
Yeah.
You don't love everybody. You don't feel like you love them. You don't always get along. You don't always agree. But when the dust settles, you're there. When they're in need, you're there. And that's just really kind of cool behind the scenes. That's the first time I've experienced it, to that degree. And the reality is, it's just like a big family. Yeah.
Was that the hardest thing you've had to overcome to start a season or even mid-season? Was that the hardest thing you've ever had to do?
By far. We've been really blessed over the years. I haven't tore up a lot of race cars. We've certainly broke, engines over the years, but every racer's going to when you race that long. But none of that compares, to this, not even close. And so without a doubt, hands down, the biggest hurdle in my life, farming and, we've had issues with farming and, accidents, things happen. But nothing, that was personally affected me that I had to come through mentally and physically to rebuild and go at it again. When you just got done doing that and now you're looking at it where you got to start all over again, it just really was hard to overcome and get the desire. It took me months to really feel like I wanted to do it. It just knocks the wind out of you in a deep, deep level.
And that's tough to be competitive on that level because you really do have to have a passion to show up at the track each and every weekend, each and every race day, work as hard as you do, and then go out there and race the car. If you don't have that passion and that burn, it's tough to be successful.
Well, it is. And behind the scenes is probably what separates the guys that run in the front versus the mid-pack. There's a lot of variables there, don't get me wrong. There's more, finances come into it and experience and all that. But the front runners of any sport at all, I feel like, are the ones that are the most determined. And it's not a hobby. They don't like it. They love it. It's a passion,
mm-hmm.
And Tad Pospischel and Schallers and, the guy, Bill Layton, those guys, they work, put their heart, blood, soul, sweat, and tears into this, just like we do. And those are the guys that you compete when it comes to the end of the season. That's the guys you're competing for the championship. So, it takes all you can give it. I always tell people, I feel like racing will take all you can give it: time, money, energy, and whatever you're giving it, somebody's probably giving it more.
Right.
So you're never going to give it enough because you just got to give it your all. And then when the dust settles, is that enough? And in the recent 4 years previous to this, where we won a championship, that's the gratifying at the end to say, well, that was enough. And this year was close. Given the hurdles we had to go through, I'm not disappointed in our season whatsoever. In fact, I'm very proud of our team and the ability to respond back and come through what we did and still be fighting for that championship.
Still able to get 6 wins on the season. When you look at that number at the end of the year, and that's for the Malvern Bank Super Late Model Series, are you surprised you were able to knock down 6 wins?
Absolutely. And, we usually win about, 6, 8, 10 races in a year. This year, there's no way. Even a month into it, we actually took a 2015 car, missile car that we had, and took a crate motor out of it and put our SLMR motor package in there. And by the way, the motor in the car had never made a lap. It was brand new.
Oh.
Had to go right back to the engine builder and get completely tore down and put all back together. Anyway, so that was devastating on top of it all. But we was able to use the motor, but eventually. But all that to say, then we ran the rest of the year on that motor and it did an awesome job. But put it in an older car. Every year we make newer and better stuff, and to go back in time and then to try to make that car compete with the new factory-built cars out there, that was, it was hard for me mentally, because I just lost my new favorite toy, and now I feel like, I'm behind in technology with this older car. But when we look back after the year, our last half of the season was very good, and so I have a lot of pride in that, being the chassis builder too, and being able to take a car that's 2015 car and go out and win them kind of races with it. It feels good.
What about let's start back at the beginning of your career. We've talked about this before, but it's always worth hearing it again. Started out in late models, right? That was your start?
Yes. Go-karts was my very first start. I was 10 years old, and my dad ran into a friend of his, and they were racing a go-kart down at Cam Raceway in Hastings, Nebraska. And he told me, you need to bring your boy down there and come watch us. So, of course, I'm 10 years old, grew up on a farm, and motorcycle and three-wheeler, people don't even know what a three-wheeler is anymore. But anyway, went down there and watched, and we've been going to races to watch anyway, car races. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of I got to do that, Dad, and I think he was thinking he wanted to do that as much as I did. So off we went and got a kart and started racing it and did that till I was 15. And then at the age of 15, we went from the go-karts right into the late model. And it was a big jump, no doubt about it. But we quickly had success, and I attribute a lot of it right back to the kart racing. Really does set a tone. You learn most of what you need to know, other than setting up a car. But as far as the driving and being competitive and the laps and the flags and the lineups and starts and restarts, all that directly applies. So, a lot of people thought we were crazy being 15 years old and jumping right to a late model. But we won 3 races our first year and won the points our second year out. So it seemed to be a natural fit.
You talked about learning how to do starts and restarts, and I've always enjoyed watching you on a restart, because if you've got the lead, forget about it. And if you're in second, forget about it. If you're back in third, the leader might have a chance. But you're one of the best at restarts, because if you've got the lead, you change up your cadence and when you're going to start the car and listening to the other cars.
Well, and again, I think a lot of it's, just experience and watching. I've watched a ton of races, and I've been beat a lot. We don't win. We lose more races than we win. So my point with that is you start looking at, well, how did this guy beat me on the start? What did he do to do that? And they start resonating in your mind. And so as you get older, more experienced, you start digging deeper in your hat of tricks, So our series is so competitive and it's so equal as front runners. So, if you can get a jump on a start or a restart, you need to take every advantage of it that you can, because that might be your only opportunity. And, I feel like a start or a restart, there's been many nights I've been, like, say, running, third or fourth or even fifth with 5, 8, 10 laps to go. And it's just, we're done. That's where we're going to finish. And the caution comes out, and I'm sitting there going, maybe I can get 1 or 2 more cars. And we end up winning the race. I feel like I'm maybe more versatile, and I think our cars are good, and our setups are good, and the experience that I have, all that combines to being able and being willing to maneuver around on a racetrack and take some chances without overdoing it. And, we're just running against more competition now where that's harder to do. I feel like I tell people like I'm racing against myself with the likes of like what Tad, he's got experience. He's like I was 10 years ago. When you're in your prime, and he's just coming into that, no doubt. And so now it is tougher. You don't go out and just drive away from the field very easy or pass guys like that, because I feel like we're racing against ourselves.
Take me back to the learning process when you first sat down that late model. I believe it was Craig Kelly that's told me a story when you were racing at Sunset. You had a habit of driving over your head just a little bit, and he called you one day and said, "Man, you got to slow down to go faster." Yep.
That track probably kicked me in the butt more than any track. And when I was 16, I just literally turned 16, and we went down and raced. And the rule was kind of like it is now: if you spin out 3 times or bring out the caution 3 times, you got to pull off the racetrack. My first time there, I brought out the caution 3 times, and they kicked me off. and that's when people told me how tough it was. It won't be that tough,
Mm-hmm.
It really was. And just I can still remember to drive that place. It was so technical for a driver, and it was so sensitive. And it was, after I did it some and got used to it some, it was so fun because it totally made a driver out of you. If you was going to compete and be competitive against the Kosiskis, 3 of them, and Dave Chase and Bill Martin and Al Humphrey and some of these guys that had run there for years on track like that, you're going to have to really, really hone your driving skills in to do that. And it taught me a lot about a race car. It taught me a lot about driving and car control. And I think it really helped mold my driving skills a lot quicker on a track that was like that.
Can you define a little bit more for somebody who's never sat behind a wheel, what was so difficult about Sunset? Was it different corner degrees and banking and that kind of stuff, or what was so difficult about it?
Still to this day, it was probably the most paperclip, I guess is what would be a term for it, shaped racetrack, meaning really tight corners, long straightaways, kind of like a mini version of Corning, Adams County down there. It's a long straightaway, tight corners. But yeah, hardly any banking, and it had this yellow clay that would just get glass slick. I mean, you could not touch the throttle. I mean, and so when you said that Craig Kelly said sometimes you got to slow down to go faster, that's what many of the upper level and the guys that had experience, would tell me, and that was hard to do. I'm a young kid, come off a go-kart, running them wide open. We just got to go. And it was just dead opposite of that. The slower you could go, the faster you went. And it is hard to explain, but just keeping the car straight up underneath you and feeling that traction of the car and not letting it slip in the middle of the corner and applying a throttle coming up off the corner where you just keep the wheels hooked up and trying to accelerate as fast as you can. If you slipped your wheels, you lost ground. Mm-hmm. And so you kept all the traction you could in your car, and when they slipped their wheels, then I gained ground on them. So you learn to make less mistakes than the guy you're trying to outrun. And it just was just at the extremist there. There's many nights there we never felt wide open, and you could not ever, around that racetrack, get full throttle. There just wasn't enough traction to do it. So it was interesting.
Well, you described the track as a paperclip. I always described it as 2 drag strips and 2 U-turns.
that is a very fair evaluation of it, absolutely, no doubt.
Let's take a quick break. We're going to let you catch your breath, and then we're going to come back and finish up your Legends of the Dirt series presented by Kosiski Auto Parts. Talking with Kyle Berck. We'll be back here on the Front Stretch.
For almost 70 years, Sarah Kelly Sewell have been Nebraska's premier personal injury firm. Race drivers, fans, and their families have been calling Sunset Speedway's Craig Kelly for over 30 years. The IKS firm focuses first on your healing and appropriate medical care, then they focus on getting you great results. Craig Kelly and his experienced team at IKS stand ready to handle your injury claims in both Nebraska and Iowa. If you or a loved one have been injured, Google Craig Kelly or call him at 402-391-4000.
Have you ever watched NASCAR, dirt track, or IndyCar and thought, I could do that? Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs is the place to put your money where your mouth is. Races fire off every 10 minutes, so what are you waiting for? Get to Joe's Karting on 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs, next to the Mid-America Center, and find out how easy it is to drive a race car. Each Joe's Karting car is powered by an eco-friendly Honda engine capable of a 14-second lap. That's if you're as good as you think.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch, heading into turn number 4, just about ready to wrap this baby up, and we're talking with this week's Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt series. Happens to be the driver of the 14, Kyle Berck, the Marquette Missile. Do you remember who gave you that nickname?
Actually, I am not 100% sure, to be honest with you.
Nicknames are a dime a dozen, but every once in a while one sticks pretty thick with the driver, and I kind of wondered if maybe you knew who created that moniker for you.
No, I don't. And, when we had the Dorothy Lynch salad dressing sponsor, there was other nicknames, but the Marquette Missile has been around for that name. I never really embraced it. Not that I didn't like it. I just kind of not, our family's not much into nicknames. It didn't mean a lot to me. But then when we started building our own chassis, we had to come up, we didn't have to, but we thought we should come up with a name more than just Berck. And so my sister's like, well, why not just, call it a Missile, because that's what, you're called anyway. I was like, okay, that kind of seems to work. So now I really like it. But I do not know exactly which announcer started that deal, but it wasn't me, that I know, but now I like it, that's for sure.
Talk about that chassis building, how you got into that aspect of it.
Well, I've tinkered around a lot over the years, and I've said before, I probably love designing and engineering and suspension, and I'm not really an engineer, but I love the setup and the challenge of the handling of the race car as much as I do just going out and driving the car, and because it makes me look so much better on the racetrack if the car's handling good. Mm-hmm. I'm not superhuman no more than any other guy is, but if the car works well, I can look awfully darn good. When the car don't work well, I run in toward the back like anybody else. So you realize as a driver, the better that car handles, the better I am. So, so when you get a car that's not working right over the years, it's like, well, what's wrong with this thing? And so just kind of the farmer and the hands-on personality in me over the years has always reworked and readjusted and tweaked and tried a lot of stuff on whatever brand of cars I've had. And I tell people I know a lot more things of what not to do that don't work than I've learned what does work. But you narrow it down after a while.
Yeah.
So, after, tweaking around on certain brands of cars late in my career, pretty soon, Audie Swartz, he's like, we can't move this stuff around anymore on our existing jig, on a Swartz. That's the last car we was working with him. And he's like, I think you just need to build your own jig and fixtures. And so he kind of offered to build our frames, and that's where our missile frames are built, is in Audie Swartz's shop there in Minford, Ohio. But we have our own jig and fixtures to do our own design, and we just go down there once a year and build them, and then they throw all that up on the wall, get it out of the way, and that's that. I don't need to have the space in my shop, and I don't need to have a fabricator full-time, and I don't need to have a tubing bender and notcher and all the equipment it takes to do that. They already have that stuff. So, we ran out of the abilities to move stuff around on his car to get where I thought I wanted for our tires and for our tracks and our type of driving. And so he kind of encouraged me. He said, I think you know enough anyway to build your own. And I was scared at first. I really was, because I didn't want to go out there and be a flop, and look bad. I mean, like anybody else, and but looking back, I'm really glad we did. When I'm done racing, look back and say, we won races in a car that a farmer built from the ground up, or designed anyway. That's gratifying. And there's times we feel like we're getting beat by factory-built cars, and they build 200-300 of them a year and have all this feedback and technology and all that stuff. Yeah, there's times I feel like I'm lacking in that department, but we seem to come back and win races. So it's still gratifying.
And I can see that, as you talked about, you're a numbers guy, so you like to be able to tweak this stuff. And as you're going through your season, are you making mental notes of where you want to move things for next year's chassis?
Without a doubt. If we have a clearance issue on the car, something's hitting the ground when it shouldn't, if it's too low to the ground, if a tire's rubbing on something, if the A-frame's hitting something and I want to travel it further, we're making those adjustments for the next year to get all that corrected. Because it's kind of the beauty of being a small chassis builder. I can do what I want, when I want, and how I want. Mm-hmm. But the problem is when something ain't working, I got to look in the mirror, and the only person there to look at is me.
Yeah.
So if it ain't working and it's not right, the pressure's on me. But the beauty is, I can tweak it around whenever I want and do whatever I want, because it's not like, well, that just obsoletes every car out there. Well, I don't have many cars out there, and the guys I have out there are winning races and doing well and are successful, and I take great pride in our customers running good, to the point when I get beat by them, and we have been beat by them, that I'm smiling all the way home. Going, that's a win-win situation. If I can run third in a race and be beat by two other customers in a missile car, that is a night to remember for myself.
You've been a fixture in the Malvern Bank Super Late Model Series since it got started, and you've been a multiple-time champion. I can't remember if the number's 5 or 6.
Again, I probably should be I don't remember either. I know it's at least 5. And I should remember this stuff, but I'd have to call Al Humphrey real quick and ask him, but, or Belinda. But
well, I usually call Anthony Ainsley, but he's not available right now. But
yes,
I was thinking it was 6. I thought you got that one for the thumb, but I could be or for the second thumb.
And
I guess.
I think so. I know we had 4 in a row coming into this year. So I think it is at 6.
Well, anyway, my question being that every year Joe and Lisa and Jay and everybody that's involved with the series does a good job with bringing back the tracks that fans really love, and then maybe trying out a new track or two. And Knoxville's a new track on the schedule. How exciting is that for you?
Like huge. I mean, gigantic.
Yeah.
And I love new tracks. I have raced there once that I can think of, maybe twice, but back in the Busch All-Star or World WDRL, I think the WDRL race, and absolutely love it. And every year when the Knoxville Nationals are going on with the late models there, I'm watching it. We're usually harvesting, so I can't get over there. But I feel like I've made 1,000 laps around that place. And I feel like I already know in my head is where this is. I already know what I want to do setup-wise. I already know how I'm going to outrun my competitors by having a car set up to go around there better than them. And it might not prove to work out like I think, but I already am excited, and it gets butterflies in me when we're talking about it.
Is there another track out there that you used to race with the WDRL or any one of the Busch Touring All-Star Series or whatever that you would like the Malvern Bank Super Late Model Series to add to the schedule?
Mid-Continent Raceway. I can answer that one.
Yeah, I'm going to say, of tracks, since they're not in existence right now, unfortunately, we realize it's not a reality. If it was, I'd be doing whatever we had to make that work. And that's been, just a lot of memories there, and we've always run very well there. And it is just a nice layout track. But, there's some other tracks we got along good at, but then you start traveling what I would say too far away. Mm-hmm. And I always whine about that the most, as I get older. And I'm on the western edge of racing civilization. I mean, you don't go very far west of us, and there's no more racetracks.
Yeah.
So, we always go east. And so a lot of the tracks I like, even Knoxville, I love it. But, we're talking 4.5, 5 hours away. So other tracks I like might be further away east. They're always east. But, Park Jefferson up in Sioux City, I love that track. We already go there, and I'm glad we're there because that track's been really good to me. It's fun. It's unique. It's challenging, So, we go to a lot of good tracks already. Kansas City down at Lakeside, that's been a good track, and I'm glad we've been there last year, and just, we hit a lot of nice tracks, so I have no complaints.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't mean for that to sound like a find a gripe that Kyle would like, Joe and Lisa to address. And I want to clarify for the fans. I think Joe and Lisa and Steve and Jay and everybody that's involved in that series does a fantastic job with working with the tracks, keeping with it a certain distance. I believe the rule of thumb is 200 miles from I-80, right?
I think that's what they try to do, and there's been some tracks thrown up this year that they were questioning, and the beauty of how Joe handles a lot of that is kind of takes a vote. Do you think, you guys, do we want to go this far away? Do we want to do this on a Sunday night? He really, really listens to the racers, and you're not going to make everybody happy. There's no way, but he really listens to the majority, and I don't know what else to expect out of anybody. I think that's all you can do.
Talk a little bit about your racing over the next couple of years. We all know that there's going to be a day where the 14's not going to be making laps around dirt tracks, and that's going to be a painful day. Are you ready for it?
That's a very loaded question, and I don't know if I even worded that right, being a loaded question. It's a fair question where I'm at in my life and my age and the number of years I've raced. I feel like I'm more mature in my racing than I am old. Mm-hmm. Meaning, other guys, don't get me wrong, I've started when they were 10 years old and started in a late model at 15 or 16 years of age. But to do it at the level we've done it, and to be as successful as we've been, and to perform at that high level of standard for the number of years we have, it does take a toll. And we've cut back our racing schedule, and the SLMR fits so perfect for where I'm at right now, where my sister's at, and the abilities and the time and the amount of races in a year. So I'm so thankful for that series because it is just a perfect fit for where we're at right now. Retirement, I even struggle to say that word, but retirement has been more on my mind every year more often than it ever was. So can I sit here and say, I'm about one more year, I'm done? No. Something might change, in a family or a farm operation where I have to quit sooner than I think. I think it's going to be somewhat of a transition out. I don't know that I'll, have an exact last year. Somewhere along the way there will be. But, I wish my boy was older accordingly. He's only 6. And so for me to say, I'm going to race until he's old enough to race, oh my, that's like 10 more years. I don't think I want to or can or will be able to perform at the level we want to and are expected to for 10 more years. So, something's going to happen in, whether it be 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now where I'm going to have to, probably start slowing down. 50, we don't all got to quit at 50, I get that. But when you look at the typical age that people start slowing down and retiring, Joe and Steve and Al Humphrey's been running for longer, but he's really slowed down in his, desire and nights that he drives. In that 50-ish window, it's tough. Yeah. I mean, my back hurts, my feet hurt. It takes me longer to get anything done. My concentration level in the shop's less. The time demand with family and 3 little kids and a wife gets more and more every year. And I'm taking over the farming roles, and my dad's getting older, so he's able to help less. So pretty soon it just you don't have enough to give to perform at the level that you always have because things change, and I guess it's called life, and things move on. I don't know what the future looks like for me, but I do know, the end is coming sooner than I thought it would. Mm-hmm. It just happens. But we're still going to throw another good year out there and be determined and show them that we can still get it done.
I think you should just make a nice, safe goal and retire before Al does.
Well, at the way it's been going, I don't know if he ever will. So
that was my point.
I'm pretty much probably going to retire before he does, the way it's looking. So.
Is car ownership the next plausible move for you?
You heard him say kids, didn't you?
Yeah, to own a car and put a driver in it, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'll never have nobody drive for me. That would be really unfair to say because I don't know what that looks like. But I probably won't have the desire, nor I won't have the help and the support. When it's a family effort, your dad and your sister and your wife and all this, they pouring it in because we're doing it. Mm-hmm. When you put any other driver in that car, I already know in my heart we're going to lose that help.
Yeah.
That's not even just the physical help, but that support of the time that I put into it, and so I don't know that we could perform. It would be tough, and Kyle's very, very picky, and I don't mean like I'd never be a driver good enough. I mean the car would have to be just perfect, as if I'm going to drive it, and it takes a lot of time and effort and finances from everybody to make this work. And so I don't know that the piece of the puzzle could come. I'm probably not going to be a content car owner to just go out there and run 10th or 5th. When you've had the career we've had, I just don't know that that'll work for me. So there might be a spell, and I don't know what it'll look like, where I really focus on if Ryan, my boy, wants to move into racing and play with it some, to see where that goes. And, that I'm going to really tip my hand here, and this is just theorizing, but I was talking with my wife a few weeks ago that my goal right now, and this may change, but what I foresee right now I'd like to do is, if Ryan, my boy, wants to race, is to start him as young as possible. Nowadays they can really start young, I guess. So you talk 12 or 13 years of age is to enter him into a crate late model thing around her, because that's what the weekly stuff is, at a really young age, and see if we can help give him the tools and equipment and stuff it takes to be successful at a younger age than I even was. That would be neat. And then to put your boy in a car that you've built behind the scenes, that's what's driving me now in the future, is to get him in a car at a really, really young age. Maybe you can start testing and working with him at 10 and 11 years of age in a late model. And then when he's 12 and old enough to go do it, that we roll out on the racetrack, not guessing what's going on, that we're already kind of tuned him in some and tuned the car to him. And that's going to probably excite me more than I even realize.
Boy, you talk about a stressful thing. Try building a car for your son. I mean, I bet every single nut and bolt will be triple checked, and that safety equipment will be top notch.
We're doing a lot of safety rules right now. The series are and are implementing a lot of new safety things because the technology's there, and it needs to be done, no doubt. But you nailed it on the head there. When you start talking about putting your son in a car, and all the things I've seen, and I've been very blessed and not been hurt in a race car. But all the things I've seen, I'm probably safety's going to rise to the very, very top priority. I just see that coming.
Kyle, how come this car broke the scale when you rolled it over? I got a few extra bars for my son in there.
Yeah, I used to be 5 pounds overweight at the end of the race. Now I'm 150 pounds overweight. What happened? Yeah, big heavy frame, big gigantic seat, and a big roll cage. Yep.
You've talked about Tad Pospisil and his talent level, and how much talent there is in this Malvern Bank Super Late Model Series, with the Zeitners and the Kosiskis and the Laytons and the
Ben Schaller,
and Jesse Sobbing, who's not returning this year. But is there somebody outside of maybe the top 10 that you're kind of keeping an eye on, and you're thinking maybe they're going to be a real contender in the future?
And I might be a little biased here, but I see a good future for Brian Kosiski. Mm-hmm. And I'm singling him out. Obviously, he's a customer of ours, or maybe people don't know that, but they get cars from me, and we're working on a new car for them. And behind the scenes, it's kind of a priority for me this year to really connect with Brian. And I used to race against Steve, and we had our battles, but we always got along good. In fact, he was always a hero of mine. I used to even list that. Billy Moyer and Steve Kosiski. Mm-hmm. And, so now to be able to put his son in a car and see him win some races in our cars, as I'm slowing down my racing career, I will really want to see Brian excel in his career. And I know he's coming into his prime, and he's, getting comfortable, and he's able to communicate more what the car is doing and what he wants it to do. And so I really foresee him to step forward this year and even next and perform even better. And it's a goal of mine because I will work with them. And there's others, don't get me wrong. Andrew, same thing. They got a big, long future ahead of them. So it's hard telling. You never know. But the pieces of the puzzle are all there for those guys. It just takes time. Yeah. And, I'm hoping to have a hand in Brian's career like I've had. but even a bigger hand in it and help him compete for more wins is my goal.
What's your favorite race of the year that you absolutely will not miss?
Boy, that's a loaded one, and it shouldn't be.
I keep asking you questions that make it sound like I'm trying to I'm stacking it against everybody else. I don't mean that. I don't mean it to sound that way.
I-80's just been a great track for me, and we've been so successful there, and I'm so comfortable there. We have not performed at the Silver Dollar Nationals like we'd hoped and wished. To sit here and say, we feel like we should have been winning that. And being honest, maybe not so much. They're a little bit different tire program. It's a different motor program than what we typically run. And you bring the best in the world, not just the United States. If you think about it, the dirt late models at this level, the Lucas Oil Series, they're the best in the world. And that's all they do. So to expect to come in there and outrun them, it's probably realistically not going to happen. But to pop off a top 10, doggone it is kind of my bucket list. And, it's been I'm really looking forward to that and being able to get a what I would say for myself, a good solid run in a Silver Dollar Nationals. It's at our track, and we've had good success there. And we win the Thursday night event, and that's great. But looking for more, I really like to perform better in the feature there. That's my goal.
You should at least be the top 1 or 2 finishing Nebraskan is kind of what you're saying.
Well, certainly, and not to take away from the other Nebraska guys, that whoever's performing at the best. But behind the scenes, it's a goal for me. It'd be like winning. If I can be the top performing local car and crack a top 10, that'd be like winning for me. You know what I mean? So, and we have the ability to do that, and we have the equipment to do that. We just haven't been able to put all the pieces of the puzzle together at the same time to do that. 2 years ago, we had a really good run coming from the back, and the motor started overheating. But I'm very confident in my heart, and I know we were going to roll into the top 10 without a doubt, but we didn't get to prove it. We didn't get it done. So I just want to get it done somewhere along the way if we can.
Well, I know you've had success against that level before. I think I know it's been several years ago now, but you won a Winter Series race down Volusia County one year, didn't you?
Well, it was at East Bay Raceway,
East
but
Bay,
during
okay.
Speed Weeks, yep. And we ran, 15 days in a row. There's like 7 days at East Bay down there in Tampa, and then the next 7 or 8 days in a row at Volusia County. And really, really performed well. I mean, way above my expectations. But gosh, we're talking, 2004? We were all a lot younger. and
that was a lot of hair ago.
A lot of hair ago and a lot of stress ago. And, I was single and just literally put everything I had into all of it at that point in time. And it was the peakish of my career. If a guy, looks back and we know we're past the peak, I get that. But yeah, we have performed well at levels like that, and so to sit here and say we're going to stir all that up again and go show these guys, well, realistically, it's probably not going to happen. But again, a top 10 at I-80 at the Silver Dollar Nationals, I'd feel like we got the job done again.
Still having fun with it, though, right?
Absolutely.
Good.
It's always got to be a challenge. That's the fun.
Kyle, always do love talking to you. I wish we had an hour to give to you because we'd certainly give it to you and keep hammering you with those tough hardball questions we're known for. But we got to wrap it up for today. I appreciate it, and best of luck with the farming business.
Very good. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
We'll see you out at the racetrack here soon, about a month and a half, 2 months from now, I guess.
It will come too soon.
Thanks, Kyle. Have a good one.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. Okay, you bet. Thank you.
So again, Kyle Berck, this weekend's Kosiski Auto Parts Legends of the Dirt Series will continue next weekend. I'd love to tell you who, but we got to get them lined up first. We've got 4 or 5 guys.
We want Gordy Gundaker and Kevin Gundaker to make one show. It'd be a great show. We've already got Gordy talked to, and we even beat him up and say, would you have your dad call us? Because we just haven't been able to get him to return a call. I talked to him down in St. Louis at the Dirt in December and got this all set up. He gave me a business card and everything else. But we've got him to talk to. We got Bob Pierce Sr. to talk to, but they're down last night. This being Sunday morning, last night would have been the last night of their 6 nights of racing down in Arizona. So maybe he'll be back in Illinois here in a couple days, and we can get a hold of him.
So we're working on getting Gordy and Kevin together in the same show. Hopefully that'll be next weekend, but we never know. But we've got a lot of legends left to go, and we thank Kosiski Auto Parts for sponsoring that. That's going to do it for us this weekend. We'll be back next weekend, January 21st, for another opportunity for you to win prizes. I smell Sammy Swindell autographed hero card floating around for your chance next weekend. Also, like we said, we're going to try to get Gordy Gundaker and Kevin Gundaker on the same show, but if not, we're going to continue to hit you with more Legends of the Dirt series. We'll be back next weekend to do it all over again. This has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Hey, look at that. You're sitting on your couch playing Halo, Madden, or NASCAR while your friends are at Joe's Karting. Each lap is an adrenaline-filled, heart-pumping, white-knuckle experience that you can only get at the Metro's largest indoor karting track. Eco-friendly Honda engines rip you around the professionally designed road course at breakneck speeds. Can you reach the 14-second lap bracket? There's only one way to find out. Put the controller down and get to Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs next to Quaker Steak and Lube.
The official watering hole of The Front Stretch has you covered any day of the week with the best wings, great burgers, and amazing steaks. Each weekday from 4 to 6 is happy hour, featuring $1 off draft and well drinks plus $4 Luberitas. Mondays are kids' night. Tuesdays are all-you-can-eat wings for $12.95, and the lube even delivers to the Council Bluffs area. Like Quaker Steak and Lube Council Bluffs on Facebook for a full list of weekly events.
Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Mid-America Drive, Council Bluffs.
Any driver will tell you that the key to winning a race is preventive maintenance. Pat at Eccles Heating and Air can make sure your wallet is on the winning side with a preventive care package. Pat will look over your existing unit and make recommendations to make sure you're toasty warm this winter. Drivers trust Pat at the racetrack with their safety, so you know you can trust him with your home heating. Call Pat today at 402-331-1755 and schedule your heater checkup. Eccles Heating and Air.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.